Okay, today what we're going to be working on is we're going to talk about what happens if you have the area under the curve and we need to find the z-score. Okay, our objective is exactly that. We want to find the z-score that corresponds or matches up to a particular area under the normal curve. So there are also circumstances where you're given this, okay? So the first thing you need to do is you need to say, all right, well, is this a positive z-score or is this a negative z-score? And hopefully you said it's a negative z-score. Right? Negative z-scores, we always need to use the first page with the negative z-scores of our table charts. Okay? So one of the other things we need to remember is that when we're looking at the chart, right, the areas are all in here, and then outside are our z-scores. Right? So when you're looking at it, if we're starting with the area, that means we want to start inside the chart and go out to find the z-score. Okay, you want to look, our area is 0.0918, and note how this shading matches this shading. So we can just look exactly for this number. So we're going to go inside our table and we're going to look for 0.0918. So I found my 0.09s, all right, or right here, see 0.09. It goes in order, okay, it's not random, they're increasing. So I get 0.0918 is right here. So what you want to do is you want to say, okay, what does that match up with? That matches up with, when you go out, a z-score of negative 1.33. So it's a z-score of negative 1.33 for my answer. Okay, I forgot the negative there. My negative 1.33. This is the answer this time. Okay, if you look at number 17, we have a positive z-score this time because it's on the right, and our area is 0.9868. So if our area is 0.9868 and it's a positive z-score, I'm going to go to the second page. Okay, and I'm going to search through. I'm going to find 0.98. Right here, my 0.98s. Okay, and right here, 0.9868 is this area. So again, check the shading. The shading for number 17 matches the shading on the chart. So 0.9868 pairs up with 2.2 and 0.02, which means it's 2.22. This is the second decimal place. So I'm going to get z equals 2.22, because again, it was 2.2 and 0.02 for the area that paired up with that. Okay, and if this diagram makes sense, put it in your notes. Like back here, we had negative 1.3 and 0.03 for our area that went out to get us negative 1.33. The second 3 is this, and they just happen to have the same number, but they don't have to have the same digit. So when you look at 18, okay, this shading does not match either of our charts, but we do have a positive z-score. So in order to have a positive z-score, the area under the curve is always from negative infinity up to that one. It's this whole space. But what do we know? What do we know about this? We know that this is half. So what we're really looking at together, this area together, is 0.9382, right? 0.50 plus 0.48382. So you need to be able to transform into something that is what the table matches, okay? So I said, all right, I know this is half, so this whole space is going to be the 0.9382, and that's what we're going to go looking for. 0.93 is here, right? See my 0.93s? and there's my 0.9382, which means my z-score is 1.54. All right, so z equals a positive 1.54. Over here, we have a positive z-score, but this area is not the area in the chart. This area is the area in the chart. So how are we going to find this space? This the opposite way of what we did when we tried to find the tail, right? If I do 1 minus 0.2206, that leaves me with what? 0.7794. Okay, so I'm going to go look for 0.7794 inside my table. Right, 0.7794 gives me a z-score of 0.77. So I get z equals 0.77. And that would be my answer. Now, for a problem like this, we've got find the z-value for the following normal curve. We've got 0.1. So just like we just did for number 19, we need to do 1 minus. So 1 minus 0.1 is going to give us 0.9. All right, when we go inside and we look for 0.9000, you'll notice if we get right over to here, so I'm at the 1.2 line, okay, right over here, do you see how 0.9000 is neither of these? It's not perfectly listed, okay? That's going to happen a lot, actually. So if you're looking for an area and it's not on the chart, you're going to use the number that's closer to it, all right? So in this case, 0.8997 is closer to 0.9000 than 0.9015. This is only 0.0003 away. This is 0.0015 away. So we're going to use the z-score of 1.28. All right, so z-score of 1.28. And you guys hopefully are writing whatever notes you need to write, okay? So 0.8997 was closer, right? You're using the closer area, okay? So if you have 0.20, and here's, oh, I forgot to put the letter Z, sorry. If we have our Z here, okay, and we're looking for 0.20, it's a negative Z-score. This is the area for negative Z-scores. So we don't need to do any subtracting. We can just go look for the closest thing inside to 0.2000. So the closest thing inside to 0.2000, do you see how it's right here between these two numbers? So which one is closer? Okay, hopefully you said this one, this 0.2005. So that's, oops, that's going to give us negative 0.8, and then it's 4. So we're going to get negative 0.84 for our z-score. All right, here we're going to have two z-scores, z1 and z2. So for this guy, you got to be careful, right? A negative z-score, we need this area that we just did, this concept. So if this is 0.40 in the middle, it's symmetrical, which means this is 0.20 and this is 0.20. So if this is half and this is 0.20, then that means that this is how much? 0.30. All right. So for Z1, you're looking for the closest thing inside to 0.3000. Okay, so if you go inside, it's a negative z-score. We're going to go look for the closest thing to 0.3000, and we land right here between these two numbers. So between these two numbers, which one's closer? This is 19 away, this is 15 away, so this one works. We're going to get negative 0.52 for Z1. So Z1 is equal to negative 0.52. All right. For Z2, guys, the area is from here to here. It's this whole, right? If you have a positive z-score, just like up here, it was this whole space, and we just look this right up on the chart. So it's this whole space. It's not just what's shaded, it's what's going to match the table. So 0.3, 0.2, 0.2 add up to 0.7. So for Z2, you're going to look up the closest thing to 0.7000. Okay? So it's a positive Z-score, so you're going to the positive table. And you go inside and you look for the closest thing to 0.7000. And it's between these guys, and it's this one. This one's closer. Okay, this is only 15 away, this is 19 away. So we get 0.52. Well, we just had negative 0.52. This is Z equals positive 0.52. Is it a coincidence that these are our answers? No, because it's symmetrical. If you have symmetry and they're the same distance, they're going to be the same numbers, just the negative and the positive. Okay? If you're comfortable with that idea and you're confident that you got the first one right, you can just know that the second one is the positive. But if you want to confirm, you can look them up, right? And that's okay. So, good job today. Way to take good notes. We will, of course, practice.